my fiancé declared. He earns pennies, while my lover gives me diamonds. I smiled and took a photo of her Boast. That photo ended up in our group chat with her parents. By morning, I was gone and her sister was at my door. Jack, 33 male, had been with Megan, 31, for 7 years. We were engaged, living a life that glittered on the surface in Miami, Florida. I was a marine biologist for a respected environmental nonprofit, making about $75,000 a year. It was my passion. Megan was an event planner for high-end clients, earning around $90,000. Our combined income was respectable, but it didn't support our lifestyle. That was funded by her father's endless generosity. We lived in a condo in South Beach that we couldn't afford. We ate at restaurants where the water cost more than my lunch. Her friends were the sons and daughters of millionaires. They judged people by the logos on their clothes and the brand of their car. I was the charity case boyfriend, the man working a noble but poor job. A few months ago, I received an email that felt like a lifeline. The Monterey Bay Oceanic Institute, a world-class private research facility in California, was offering me a position. It wasn't just any job, it was head of oceanic research. The offer included a starting salary of $200,000, a $50,000 personal research grant, and full relocation assistance. It was a dream I never thought possible. I told Megan over dinner, my voice buzzing with excitement. She stared at me, a look of bored disbelief on her face. Monterey, she said, wrinkling her nose. What's in Monterey? Otters. It's the top marine research institute in the world, I explained. It's a step down, Jack, she said coldly. My friends' husbands are making partner at their law firms. You want to go play with fish for $200K? It's embarrassing. This is my life's work, I said. Your hobby, she corrected. My life, our real life, is here. The conversation was over before it began, but the real end came at a charity gala a week later. She was showing off a new diamond bracelet to her friends. I was standing a few feet away. Her voice, dripping with condescending pride, cut through the music. That was the moment 7 years of my life turned to ash. Update 1: I accepted the Monterey offer the following morning. I replied to the email, scanned the signed contract, and sent it back before the sun had fully risen. My new life had a start date 1 month from today. Megan acted as if our conversation never happened. Any mention of California was met with a dismissive wave of her hand. We are not talking about your little fantasy, Jack, she'd say. It's not happening. Her friends turned it into a running joke. They'd ask me if I was excited to start my whale-watching career. They would toast to Megan for keeping me grounded in reality. They were a pack of hyenas, and she was their queen. I began my exit strategy in silence. I opened a new bank account with a national bank. I quietly sold some investments I had made before I met Megan. The money, a little over $80,000, became my escape fund. I spent my lunch breaks researching apartments in Carmel, by the sea, a quiet town near the institute. I also investigated the lover she had boasted about. It wasn't hard. On her cloud-synced photos, I found a picture of her wearing the diamond bracelet. The geotag was from a hotel in the Keys on a weekend. She told me she was at a yoga retreat. The hotel was owned by a wealthy developer. Her father did business with a man in his late 60s. It was all horribly clear. I saved the photo. Update 2: The night of the gala, after hearing her boast, I felt a strange sense of peace. When she showed off the diamond bracelet, I had pulled out my phone. I acted like I was taking a picture of the event, but I framed her perfectly, the diamonds glittering on her wrist, her face alight with smug satisfaction. I had my evidence. A week later, I sat her down in our pristine, white living room. Megan, we need to talk, I said. If this is about California, I'm not interested, she sighed. I'm going to California, I said calmly. I took the job. I'm leaving at the end of the month. Her face hardened. You did what? You went behind my back. You refused to have a conversation, I said. And I know why. I know about the bracelet. I know about your lover. Her composure shattered. It was like watching a statue crack. First came denial, then anger. You're crazy? You're making things up because you're jealous of my friends. I'm not jealous, I said. I'm just done. She stood up, her voice rising to a shriek. You cannot do this to me. You will ruin me. You have to choose, Jack. It's me or this stupid, pointless job. I looked at the woman I once loved, now a stranger consumed by status and greed. That's the easiest choice I've ever made, I said. I choose my work. I choose my self-respect. Before she could respond, I took out my phone. I sent the picture of her with the bracelet to our family group chat. It included her parents, her younger sister Ella, and me. I added a single caption. Congratulations on the new diamonds, Megan. I'm sure your lover is very generous. Then I stood up, walked into the bedroom, and started packing a bag. Update 3: The group chat exploded. Her father's messages were short, furious, and in all caps. Her mother's were a series of frantic questions. Megan sent a volley of denials and accusations. I put my phone on silent. I packed a suitcase, walked out of the condo, and checked into a hotel down the street. The next morning, I was in the hotel lobby waiting for my coffee when someone called my name. It was Ella, Megan's sister. She was the opposite of Megan in every way: quiet, artistic, and kind. She had always looked at me with a sort of sympathetic sadness. "Jack, I am so sorry," she said, her eyes filled with genuine regret. "I always knew she didn't deserve you." She told me their parents were furious and that Megan's lover had already cut off all contact. The whole sordid affair was out in the open. "If you need anything," she said, "anything at all, please call me." The movers arrived at the condo later that morning. Megan was gone, likely summoned to her parents' mansion for a crisis meeting. The process was swift and impersonal. By afternoon, my life was packed into a truck heading west. I dropped my key with the concierge, got in my car, and started the long drive to California. The sense of relief was overwhelming. My new apartment in Monterey was simple, but the view was priceless. It looked straight out over the Pacific Ocean. I could smell the salt in the air. That first night, I sat on my empty floor, ate pizza out of a box, and felt happier than I had in years. Update 4: My new life was everything my old life was not. It was authentic. My work at the Institute was challenging and fulfilling. I was surrounded by brilliant, passionate people who cared about the world. I started surfing before work and hiking in Big Sur on the weekends. I was becoming the person I was always meant to be. My $50,000 research grant allowed me to launch a groundbreaking study on deep-sea coral reefs. The early findings were so promising that the Institute awarded me a $25,000 bonus to expand the project. I used the money as a down payment on a small bungalow in Pacific Grove, a charming little house just a block from the ocean. Megan's father called me once. He sounded like a broken man. He apologized for his daughter's behavior, for not seeing what she had become. I was polite, but I kept the conversation short. Her friends sent a few probing messages, which I ignored. Ella was the only person I kept in touch with. We had a few long phone calls. She told me Megan had been completely cut off financially. She had been forced to move out of the condo and into a small apartment. Her friends had abandoned her the moment the money and status disappeared. She was working a retail job to pay her bills. Update 5: A year after I moved, I was invited to give a TED Talk on my research. The talk, titled "The Hidden Forests of the Deep," went viral. It was shared by scientists, celebrities, and environmental activists. It put me and the Institute on a global stage. My LinkedIn profile, with my new title and a link to the talk, was suddenly getting thousands of views. Of course, Megan saw it. The first email was almost comical in its desperation. "Head of Research, a TED Talk," it read. "Jack, I had no idea. You never told me it was this important. I've made a terrible mistake. I miss you so much." The emails and texts from burner numbers became a daily flood. She pleaded, she apologized, she told me her life was meaningless without me. She said she was a changed person. Some of our old mutual friends from Miami also reached out, offering hollow congratulations. They admitted they knew Megan had been lying and exaggerating about my struggles. Ella called me, but her congratulations were genuine. She was overjoyed for my success. "You deserve all of it, Jack," she said. Update 6: 2 weeks after the TED Talk went live, she showed up in Monterey. She was waiting for me outside the Institute when I left work. She looked smaller, and the expensive clothes were gone, replaced by a cheap sundress. "Jack," she said, rushing towards me, "we need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about, Megan," I said, not breaking my stride. "Please," she begged, tears welling in her eyes. "I've changed. I moved out here to be with you. I can start over." I stopped and turned to face her. "You didn't move out here for me. You flew out here because you saw a video. You saw a title. You saw a second chance at a comfortable life." "That's not true! I love you!" "No," I said, my voice cold as the Pacific wind. "You loved the idea of me as a safety net. I remember you calling my salary pennies. I remember you laughing about the diamonds your lover gave you. You didn't want to build a life with me. You wanted me to fund the one you already had." I told her to leave me alone. When she tried to follow me, I had Institute security escort her off the property. Update 7: Her last, desperate move was a legal one. She hired a cheap lawyer who sent me a letter demanding palimony. She claimed she was my dependent and that our 7-year relationship constituted a domestic partnership. She wanted half of my assets and ongoing support. I hired a lawyer in Monterey. He laughed when he read the letter. He sent back a blistering response. It included bank statements showing the massive, regular cash infusions from her father into her account, proving she was dependent on him, not me. It also included a copy of the infamous photo of her with the diamond bracelet. Her case evaporated. She then tried a half-hearted social media campaign, creating a blog where she vaguely accused me of abandoning her. It backfired when her own sister, Ella, left a single, devastating comment on the post. "Megan, did you tell them about the diamonds?" The blog was deleted the next day. Update 8: A year later, I was truly happy. My research was flourishing, and my salary had been increased to $225,000. My little bungalow was my sanctuary. Life was quiet and good, and I wasn't alone. Ella had moved to California 6 months earlier. She left the toxic Miami scene to start her own graphic design business. We started as friends, bonding over our shared escape from a world we didn't belong in. It slowly, naturally, grew into something more. Our relationship was built on a foundation of honesty and shared values. It was real. I got one last email from Megan. It was short. "I saw you're with Ella. I guess I really did lose everything. I'm sorry," I replied. "I hope you find peace, Megan." Then I blocked her email address and finally let her go. Final update: last month, Ella and I flew to Miami to see her parents. It was the first time I had been back. Megan was not there. She had moved to another state, trying to start over. Her father pulled me aside on the patio, overlooking the water. He looked older. "Jack," he said, his voice heavy, "I need to apologize. We spoiled her. We gave her everything she wanted but never taught her the value of anything. We thought money could solve everything. It can't." He looked at Ella, who was laughing with her mother. "I'm glad one of my daughters learned what truly matters. Thank you for being a good man." His words brought a final, unexpected sense of closure. The lesson in all of this was clear. Never let someone who is comfortable with mediocrity talk you out of your own greatness. Don't shrink your dreams to fit into someone else's small world. The right person won't see your passion as a threat. They'll see it as an inspiration. Later that week, back in Pacific Grove, Ella and I walked along the beach at sunset. The waves crashed, the sea air was cool, and the sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. I had lost a life that was a shallow illusion, and in its place, I had built one that was as deep and real as the ocean in front of me. I was finally home.